Let's take a look at a sample problem where we're dealing with the point slope form and the slope intercept form of a line when we're dealing with parallel and perpendicular lines. Okay, so the problem we're going to solve right now is this. The equation for line C can be written as y equals negative 5x minus 9. Perpendicular to line C is line D, which passes through the point 8 comma 1. What is the equation of line D? All right. So that might be a little bit confusing. So just for the sake of clarification, let's pop over to GeoGebra and see exactly what this problem is asking about if we were looking at graphs. All right. So here's the line they're talking about. Y equals negative 5x minus 9. And I've also plotted the point 8 comma 1 over here. So what we're looking for is we're looking for the line that's perpendicular to this line that passes through this point. And if we had this without the coordinate plane, we'd have to use a compass and straight edge to figure out exactly what that perpendicular line is. So the perpendicular line would look like this. All right, so we are looking for the equation of this line that passes through the point that's perpendicular to the line they told us about. And so we don't need to use a compass and straight edge. We can just use algebra since we've got these coordinate points. So let's pop back over to the document camera and see how to attack this problem. So we need to know a couple things about line D. We know that it passes through the point 8 comma 1. So we'll say that x1 comma y1 is equal to 8, 1. We don't know the slope of line D though, not right off the bat, but we do know that it's perpendicular to line C, and here's the equation of line C. So looking at this in slope-intercept form, what's the slope of line C? And I'll write it like this. I'll write M with a little c underneath. The slope of C is the coefficient of that equation in slope-intercept form. So that slope is negative 5. So knowing that line C is perpendicular to line D, what would the slope of line D have to be? Well, remember that perpendicular lines have slopes that are negative reciprocals of each other. So because this is negative, the slope of D is going to be positive. And if we think of the slope of C as being 5 over 1, the slope of D will be the reciprocal of that, which is 1 over 5. So now, talking about the equation of line D, we know the slope of line D, and we know a point that line D goes through. So how can we express the equation of that line? Well, we know a point and we know a slope, so we will use the point-slope form. And the point-slope form of a line, remember that's y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. And we'll just substitute in all the values we have. Y minus y1 is 1 is equal to 1 over 5 times x minus 8. So now we've got this equation of the line that is perpendicular to this line and that passes through this point. Are we done with the problem then? No, we're not. What are we missing from this solution? Always be really careful when you solve a problem that you read the instructions carefully, because we don't want to do this much work and then not get credit because we didn't give the right answer. They're asking us to write the equation in slope-intercept form. And we're not in slope-intercept form right now. We are in point-slope form. So we've got to clear out our parentheses and solve this for y. All right, so let's do that. Y minus y1, we're going to distribute the 1/5 across both of these terms. So we've got 1 over 5 times x minus 8 over 5. Then we're going to add 1 to this side of the equation. Maybe I'll do it like this just to make it a little bit more natural. I'm going to add 1 to this side of the equation, but I'm going to add 5 over 5 to this side of the equation. You see how that's balanced? It's balanced, but it's going to give me a little bit of a clearer sense of what this answer is. So -8/5 plus 5/5. -8 plus 5 would be -3 over that common denominator of 5. And so here is my equation written in slope-intercept form. Okay, so all of the problems here are going to be solved a little bit like that. Remember, when you're dealing with perpendicular lines, the slopes of the two lines are going to be the negative reciprocals of each other. When you're dealing with parallel lines, it's much simpler. With parallel lines, you just know that the slopes of the two lines are going to be the same as each other. So it's just a matter of using those facts plus what we've already done with the point slope form and the slope intercept form of the lines, and you'll be able to get through this IXL with flying colors.